Right now, God is rising up a version of believers that the world is not ready for. Not weak Christians, not comfortable Christians, not polished up platform crowd approved Christians, but Christians who were forged in his fire. These are men and women who were ripped out of darkness by the hand of God. People who were set free from addiction, trauma, bondage, perversion, and chains that the enemy swore he would bury them in. These aren't people that were built by religious systems. These are people who met Jesus in the wilderness. He met them in brokenness. He met them in isolation. And he met them in the darkest places of their lives that only he could save them from. Not an applause, not a stage, and not a church performance. Just raw surrender before a holy God. Those same people are about to be sent out with fire in their mouths. They're not coming to entertain churches. They're not coming to protect your comfort. And they're definitely not coming to preach a soft sermon that leaves your flesh alive and sin untouched. They're coming to confront darkness. They're going to call sin for what it is. They're going to expose fake Christianity. And they're going to tear down all the lies that have dressed themselves up as church language. Because the gospel was never meant to make your flesh feel safe. This generation that God is raising up right now is not going to bow to culture. They're not going to dilute truth for followers, and they're not going to trade conviction for acceptance. And to be completely honest, they're going to be hated for it, not only by the world, but by the religious people who claim they know Christ, but can't stand the weight of real truth. Because hardened hearts hate conviction. Jesus said in John 15:20, if they persecuted me, they will also persecute you. This means if you carry the real truth, if you carry the real Jesus, you're going to get resistance. Expect rejection, expect slander, expect false accusations, because darkness has always hated light, and truth has never been welcomed by systems that are built on compromise. The Pharisees hated Jesus because the truth that he spoke exposed their fake holiness. And that same spirit lives today. But these believers that God is rising up right now in this moment, they're not intimidated by rejection. They fear God more than they fear men. They're not here to fit in. They're here to set fire. They're here to wake up sleeping churches. They're here to call dead believers out of compromise. And they're here to advance the kingdom of God. This is not the hour to be lukewarm. This is not the hour to have timid voices. This is the hour to have holy boldness. And the ones rising right now are only carrying one message. Jesus is the way, Jesus is the truth, and Jesus is the life. And they're not going to be silenced.